Sophie Cunningham of the Indiana Fever moved in for a basket. DiJonai Carrington of the Chicago Sky came in with a flagrant foul. Carrington was ejected after what really looks like a brutal clothesline. Look at that. The two had to be separated before Carrington was ejected from the game. But that's not the end of it. While in the locker room, she went on Threads and posted white privilege. The post stayed up overnight, and of course, it got engagements, with many people arguing with her. Now, for more on what America is talking about, joining me now, host Sandy Rios, 24/7, and author of God's Velvet Hammer, Sandy Rios. Also with us, host of the Brett Winterble Show, Brett Winterble. Welcome to you both. Thanks for being here on this Sunday.
Thank you.
Sandy, we'll start with you. So, I mean, what is going on in the WNBA? First of all, obvious attack, clothesline. It was a brutal hit. But then she goes on social media. Carrington says white privilege. She's playing the victim card. Is there something deeper at play here?
I think so. I think two words came to my mind as I was thinking about this subject. Is two things are going on at the WNBA, and both of them are dangerous and wicked.
Yeah.
We have racism, we have transgenderism, but it's just kind of a cesspool of wickedness, really, that has serious repercussions. Now, in the case of the attack on Sophie, if you saw that closely, I mean, if you saw Sophie's face up close, that was terrible what she did, putting her arm around her neck. Really dangerous. And I think the same player, DiJonai, I think her name is, had poked Sophie in the eye in the playoffs. This is very, very dangerous. And I think we have to bring some sanity to the culture. And I think, all the so-called groups that feel like they're being mistreated, whether it's Islamists who's called Islamophobia, if you criticize them, to transgenders that call you, transphobia or whatever. There's always names.
Yeah.
Radio in Chicago for years, I had a large Black audience and lots of friends, lots of wonderful friends. But the racists in the audience would always call me a hater. They call me a racist. This is just this is what they do. It's a dog whistle.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with the real problem.
They can't win an argument. They call you a name. Exactly. They try to shame your argument. Brett, let me talk to you about this. Tons of controversy in the WNBA. So much so Congress sent a letter to the league about Caitlin Clark being fouled so often. Now, Brett, is there a deeper problem? Is the league just completely delusional? Or do you think that there are a lot of folks in the league that are actively encouraging this? Like maybe they don't want Caitlin Clark or Sophie Cunningham as a part of their league?
Look, I think it's a mix of all of this, right? Everybody's talking about this today. It's the biggest topic that's trending right now, and we also have to remember. Look, if it gets drama, it gets sells, and that's a big deal. And I'm not saying that people don't necessarily want to fight or do things like that, but the reality is, look, we got Enes Kanter coming in now. Now we got Royce White coming in now. They want to be part of the this WNBA. Everybody's talking about this. And by the way, you saw something very, very interesting earlier, and that was they rescinded the what do you call it? They said wow. Oh my gosh. What's her name? On the Fever, they took it back. And that is huge. That is huge. This is like WWE.
Well, they're also now reportedly there's going to be some meeting about how we define women. Of course, you got at least one member of the Supreme Court that doesn't know how to define a woman. Sandy, let me ask you, let's talk about this trans debate within the WNBA. You've got Royce White and Enes Kanter declaring that they are eligible for the 2027 WNBA. Take a look at this video that Enes posted.
My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone.
Sandy, he's got a great point, doesn't he? I want to ask you this, though. I mean, I almost can't believe we're having this discussion in 2026 about what a woman is. It seems so ridiculous and absurd. But that said, does this help get back to common sense by pointing out the absurdity?
Oh, absolutely. Enes is a hero. He moved here from Turkey, I don't know how many years ago, but he made his Bones actually defending the United States. He changed his last name to Freedom. He's very, very smart. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he's spot on. And I think the only way to stop this nonsense is to mock them, but do it in a very effective way. He is mocking them, even though he says he isn't, and he's going to test what they think their principles are and show how ridiculous they are. And I hope he gets in. I think that would be great.
Now, this comes after French transgender basketball player Julie Tittart said that, quote, let me correct it for you, he wouldn't say no if the WNBA came calling. Let me ask both quick take on this. Sandy, I'll just start with you real quick. Is this fair to ask female athletes to continue to put up with this?
Of course not. Look at the harms that's done to women already. Look at the female boxer in the Olympics, and look at the girl playing volleyball who was permanently injured by a male female player. No, this is dangerous. Think of the locker rooms, the trauma to little girls with men fully undressing. No, this is not funny. It's not a game, and it needs to be stopped.
Yeah. All right, Sandy Rios, Brett Winterble, thank you both very much. Enjoyed the discussion. Have a great rest of your Sunday. All right, guys.